Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, January 5th, 2026 organizational meeting for the Northwest Local School District. I could ask everyone to rise and stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance in honor of our flag and our country. All right, Amy, can you do roll call?
Ms. Slattery?
Here.
Mr. Detzel?
Here.
Mr. Heather? Here. Mrs. Talby?
Here.
Ms. Jones?
Here. All right, and next up, we will do the oath of office for our newly elected board members with our returning members of Chris Heather and Nicole Talby and our new member, Sierra Jones.
Chris, you want?
Are we doing it all together?
Separately.
Well, congratulations to our returning members and congratulations to our new member, and let's hope we have a successful 2026. All right, and now I need a motion to adopt the agenda in a second.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? You can go ahead and vote. Did yours come up, Sierra?
Did you vote? No. Hold on, let's see. 1 second. Let's go back. Any organizational meeting? Okay. Did you join the meeting? Oh, here we go. Sorry.
All right, and that passes without opposition. And now we need nominations for the board president.
I would like to nominate you, Nancy, as the president of the Northwest School Board.
Second.
And are there any other nominees for board president? All right, and can we get a motion and a second for election of president?
So moved.
Second.
And that passes without opposition. And now if we can have nominations for vice president.
I nominate Chris.
I second that. Are there any other nominations for vice president? And we can vote on that. And that passes without opposition.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
right, and next we will need to establish the time and place of board meetings as was in the agenda. Can I get a motion and a second for that?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
We can vote on that. And that also passes without opposition. And our next action be to have the Student Achievement Liaison, and I would appoint Sierra Jones to represent the Student Achievement Liaison for the board for 2026.
Second.
Can I get a motion? I guess I'm the motion. And a second? Chris? Okay. And that passes without opposition. And next, the Board of Education nominates and appoints Nicole Talby to represent as the legislative liaison for the board for 2026. Can I get a motion and a second?
So moved.
Oh, second.
And that passes, 4 with 1 abstaining. And our next is a resolution to nominate and appoint Jim Detzel to be the Butler Technology and Career Development School Board Center of Education member. Can I get a motion and a second?
So moved.
And can I get a second?
Jim, how many years have you been on the Butler Tech Board?
To what?
How many years have you been on the Butler Tech Board? Just curious.
How many years? 15.
All right, and that passes without opposition. And next, we would want to do recognition of a board committee. We are going to start a board policy committee this year, and the current board members for that policy committee will be Nicole Talby and myself, Nancy Slattery. If I could get a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Are there any questions about that? And that passes without opposition. And then we need to have recognition of the board attorneys. And our current board attorneys are Dinsmore for workers' comp and financing, Finney Law for Board of Revisions, and Ennis and Britton. And can I have a motion and a second for that?
So moved.
Second.
And that also passes without opposition. And they need approval for OSBA membership dues for 2026 in the amount of $10,078. Can I get a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions about
Do you
that?
remember how much that was last year offhand?
9281.
What, do they give you a detailed list of why it goes up?
They don't give anything but the invoice.
Thank you.
And that also passes without opposition. And then we need to also vote regarding the OSBA Legal Assistance Fund membership resolution, and authorize the treasurer to pay $250 for the calendar year of 2026. Can I get a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions about that? And we can vote. And that also passes without opposition. And next, we need to vote regarding the establishment of the Board Service Fund. That is by ORC 3315.15. The Board of Education may by resolution set aside each year from the general fund a sum not to exceed $2 for each child enrolled in the district, or $20,000, whichever is greater. And can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
And any questions about that? And that also passes without opposition. And now we need for authorization of official signatures. The Board of Education authorizes the president and the treasurer to be the official signers for the payment of funds for the Board of Education, and further authorizes that one signed check on all Board of Education accounts, and that the president's signature and the treasurer's signature may be a facsimile. Can I get a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second?
And that passes without opposition. And then we need the authorization for the treasurer to pay bills. The Board of Education authorizes the treasurer to pay bills as they are presented within availability of funds, report all bills paid monthly to the Board of Education, and to include bills not paid due to unavailability of funds. And can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
And that passes without opposition. And then we have investment of inactive and interim funds in commercial paper. The Board of Education authorizes the treasurer to invest inactive and interim funds at the most productive interest rate according to board policy whenever inactive and interim funds are available. The Board of Education authorizes the treasurer to invest up to a maximum of 40% of the district's interim funds in either of the following: commercial paper notes issued by for-profit corporation, business trust, or association, real estate investment trust, common law trust, unincorporated business, or general or limited partnership which has assets exceeding $500 million. And can I get a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second?
And that passes without opposition. And then designate for public records training per ORC 109.43B and 149.43E1. A member of the Board of Education or designee must receive 3 hours of public records training for each term of office. The Board of Education designates Elizabeth Witt for training on behalf of the Northwest Local Schools Board of Education for the current term of office. At the prerogative of the Board of Education, we designate Elizabeth Witt for public records training for the current term of office on behalf of the Northwest Local Schools Board of Education. Can I get a motion and second?
So moved.
Second.
And that passes without opposition. And Tax Incentive Review Council designee for Hamilton County, Green Township, and Corrane Township. Per ORC Section 5709.85, the Board of Education must designate a representative to serve on the Tax Incentive Review Council for Hamilton County, Green Township, and Corrane Township. The Board of Education designates Amy Wells and/or Elizabeth Witt. The President recommends the prerogative of the Board of Education to designate Amy Wells and/or Elizabeth Witt for the Tax Incentive Review Councils for Hamilton County, Greene Township, and Colerain Township on behalf of the Northwest Local School Boards of Education. Can I get a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
And that passes without opposition. And then we need to approve of student activity accounts. The Board of Education authorizes the student activity accounts to be active for fiscal years 2026 and 2027. Can I get a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second?
And that passes without opposition. And we need an appointment fiscal officer for student activity accounts. The Board of Education appoints the superintendent to be the sign-off officer on all student activity programs, and he shall present these programs to the Board of Education once each year. He will also have the authority to approve and/or modify the student activity budgets throughout the year. Need a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
And that passes without opposition. And then next would be approved board member benefits pursuant to House Bill 369 dated October 17th, 1985, and Resolution Number 40-85 dated December 9th, 1985. The current board members may exercise their option to participate in the district's employee benefit plans at the board members' expenses, and those expenses are listed in the agenda. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
And that passes without opposition. And next is records retention. The attached records are being presented for recognition and will be submitted for approval to destroy through the Historical Society as reviewed by the Records Commission. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second?
That passes without opposition.
Next, we have the approval of the fiscal '27 tax budget. The tax budget includes all funds that collect property taxes. The first fund is our general fund, so for current operating expenses of $115.8 million. The bond retirement fund of $3.9 million, and our permanent improvement fund of $7.8 million. With that, I ask the board to approve the tax budget as listed and file copies with the Hamilton County Auditor.
Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second?
Any questions? And that passes without opposition.
This is a resolution for blanket certifications, so we ask the board to approve issuing blanket purchase orders for a sum not exceeding $25,000 established by this resolution, and against any specific line item over a period of time but not to exceed the fiscal year end or up to 3 months. Ask the board to approve the resolution for blanket certification.
Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
And that passes without opposition.
Next, we have our annual $60,000 fund-to-fund transfer to help offset the cost of transportation for our athletics, as well as our annual transfer as required by the OFCC for our Segment 1 Colerain Elementary project. from the Permanent Improvement Fund to the OFCC Facility Maintenance Special Revenue Fund 034 for $1.169 million. With that, I ask the board to approve those two transfers as listed.
And can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
And that passes without opposition.
Annually, we're required to list and report to the board any rebates and rewards that we've received throughout the fiscal year. It's a PNC purchasing card rebate of $7.8 thousand, fiscal integrated payables rebate of $4.7 thousand, Bonefish Avid Pay rebate of $545, Southwest EPC rebate of $27,000, Kroger rewards of almost $400. So I recommend the board accept the rebates and rewards as listed.
Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
And that passes without opposition.
Thank you.
Next, we have the appointment of the purchasing agent. So the Director of Business Services would be the superintendent's designee to serve as a purchasing agent for the district, and the superintendent recommends the board approve the appointment as purchasing agent as listed.
I have a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
And that passes without opposition.
And we have the recognition of our booster and support organizations. The attachment lists the various booster and support organizations associated with the district, whether they are completely in compliance or granted a 6-month extension to gather the needed paperwork to be in compliance with board policy. Superintendent recommends the Board of Education recognize the booster and support organizations as listed.
Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
And that passes without opposition. And then can I have a motion and a second to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Second.
And that passes. That passes without opposition. Meeting adjourned. Welcome, everyone, to the January 5th, 2026 Northwest Board of Education meeting held here at Montford Heights Elementary. I invite everybody to stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance in honor of our flag and our country. And Amy, can you take roll call?
Ms. Slattery?
Here.
Mr. Heather?
Here.
Mr. Detzel?
Here.
Ms. Jones?
Here.
Mrs. Dalby?
Here.
All right, and I will read our mission statement. The Northwest Local School District will create a responsive learning community where all students are valued, challenged, and guided along a pathway to success. And if I can get a motion and second for approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All right, and any questions? And that passes without opposition.
So we start tonight with a special presentation. So across the state of Ohio, the Ohio School Board Association recognizes January as School Board Recognition Month. In honor of that, we have some gifts for our board members that we would like to present. There is a flower, a certificate, and on behalf of the board, there are books that they each have signed that are going to be donated to the libraries of our schools so that they can continue to support literacy for our students across the district. School board members are volunteer positions. These are people who have made a personal decision to give of their self and of their time to support the students and community of this district. And it looks like it might be an easy job to come to a meeting, have discussion, vote on policy and governance, but they do so much more. The support that they give to the district, the administration, the students, the families, the entire community could not be overstated. They go above and beyond to be eyes and ears in the community, to be champions and cheerleaders for our district. Amy and I couldn't be happier and prouder to work alongside an amazing team of people who give of themselves for others, and this is a time where we just want to stop and pause and say thank you to all of you for all that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate that, and the hard work is more than paid off by seeing kids succeed every single day and thrive in education and extracurricular activities. So it's a very rewarding experience, and the next time school board elections come up, I encourage people to run, because it's going to be one of the most rewarding things you ever get to do.
Thank you. On the heels of that, we actually, since we're at Montfort Heights, we have Principal Trey Richmond and the Assistant Principal Ryan Whitaker, who are going to update us on their attendance goals. We talk a lot about our One Plan. It has 3 components: achievement, attendance, and classroom environment, and they're going to focus on the activities they've done around the attendance here at Montfort Heights.
First off, oh, it's loud. Welcome to Montfort Heights. Welcome to the Green School. We're just going to spend a couple minutes talk about one of our major initiatives in the One Plan, and that is through the attendance program we have here, focusing on chronic absenteeism. Before I turn it over to Mr. Whitaker, he has taken the lead on this and has done a fantastic job, but I couldn't go without saying the staff here has done so much work to really get our kids here to school. As everybody knows, if students aren't here, we can't teach them. And we're a K-5 building, so we know a lot of times it's not the children making the decision whether they're here or not. But we have put a lot of time and effort in the last couple years to really work on our chronic absenteeism numbers and getting students here to school. And I'm very proud to work with Mr. Whitaker. He puts a lot of time and effort into the students here. Everybody loves him. I'm the short one, he's the big guy. But he does a great job, and I'm super proud of him to be able to share this information with you and the work we've done over the last couple years. Mr. Whitaker. Thank you.
I appreciate that. One thing that I truly believe in is culture starts from top down, and that starts with Trey. It 100% foot comes off of him, starting from Mr. Yater all the way down to the district. You know, leadership is something that isn't always easy, and we appreciate when we have good leadership. So like he said, our One Plan has been something that we've been focused on now for a year and a half. We have another year and a half to go, so we're halfway there. But Montfort Heights has been dedicating a lot of time, not just to academics and behavior, but also to our attendance program. So our goal is over these next 3 years, a year and a half so far, we want to decrease our absenteeism percent by 12%, with the ultimate like 4% per year. Our state report card every year is going to report that. So our goal is to just kind of continue to get better. Last year we were trying to do 4%, but unfortunately we only reached a 2.5% mark. This is just some past data back as far as 2021 and 2022, prior to when Mr. Richmond and I were at this building. We were in the 26s. In the year 2023 was when we started here. We had a slight drop from our first year, but then 2024 is our baseline data that we use to track for our One Plan. So 21.4 is where our baseline started, and based on that percentage, we want to drop 4% each year with a total of 12 over those 3 years. Last year, like I said, we dropped 2.5% to 18.9, so we fell short about 1.5% of our goal. Still showed some great improvement. but still some work to do. This year, we're projected at this point to be at 13.15, which is beyond our goal, which is 13.4 or 13.39. So like Mr. Richmond said, that's definitely kudos to not just the work that he and I have done, but the building, the community, everybody, all the stakeholders, because our kiddos can't get themselves to school. On the right there, you kind of see the way that chronic absenteeism works. Our goal is to keep the kids here miss less than 16 days is kind of what I preach to the families. Gives them about 4 days per quarter. So today I made 20, 30 calls to parents of students that have missed 8 or more days throughout the school year, just to kind of let them know where they stand, let them know, we care about their kids, if there's anything that we can do, just to kind of make sure that they understand just the stair steps of the process. Majority of our kids live in that yellow zone where they, may be kind of teetering back and forth. So that's why we really try to increase that awareness so that the parents and the families know that their attendance is important. And then we do have lots of great families and students that, not the other ones aren't, but that do a great job of getting their kids here on a daily and weekly basis. So our one-plan strategies, over the summer, Mr. Yater and Mr. Richmond sat down and they developed one-plan strategies for all 3 of our goals. These are our strategies that we developed based on our attendance goal. Prior to the school year, strategy 1, calls were made to targeted families based on last year's data. So Trey and I, August, he probably did some in July, reached out to those families, let them know, we love you, we want you to be here, your kids' attendance is important. Just build that relationship, make sure that they know that school's coming back, they know dates, start time, just all those little nuances that they may or may not understand. Our second strategy is one that I do on a daily, weekly basis. We do intentional attendance conversations with parents of our Tier 2 and our Tier 3. So those are the kiddos that are in that yellow and that red zone that we had just talked about. Tier 3 is more that red zone and Tier 2 is more that yellow zone. Just kind of reaching out to them, letting them know where they stand is important because we don't always know the way that works. When most of us were in school, they counted it by days. Now they count it by minutes. It's just different. And then our strategy 3, our attendance team, we make sure that we contact those chronically absent students, establish rapport with those. We ask our teachers, any student that's absent 2 days in a row, we reach out to them through Class Dojo just to see what's going on, let them know that we miss them, see if there's anything that we can do to help out, make sure that there's any work that they need that we can get that sent to the house. Within that team, or in that kind of realm, we also have an attendance team. Our team has myself, Mrs. Manger back there hiding. She's pivotal in this team. She's been a great assistance. Ms. Rockty is also one of our BLT members that helps here. But the 3 kind of pillars that we decided that we wanted to focus on this year are increasing awareness for all stakeholders. You guys, us, like everybody, not just the kids and the parents. September is Attendance Awareness Month, so we do make sure that we push out a bunch of attendance information. The district does it. We do it in our newsletters just to make sure that parents know, starting the school year off good contributes to finishing the year good. Starting it off slow, it's hard to kind of get that ball rolling. Incentives and celebrations for the students. It's fun. Like, we want them to have fun. We want them to be at school. We want them to get that same chills that we get when I walk in this building because we know that the kids and the parents and the teachers all love the kids that are here. And then we want to make sure that we inform the parents and get them involved. So we have conference letters. So when the parents come in for conference, we will give them an attendance letter that lets them know, hey, Chris has missed this many days of school. This is his attendance percentage, just so that they, sorry, Mr. McKee, just so that they kind of know where they stand in the grand scheme of things. We also have class incentives. So as the kids come in, they may do like a no tardy November, and they can fill out their little charts. I'll go into that a little bit more. And then we also have student incentives that we send home, because like we had said before, our kiddos can't get themselves to school, so we got to get the parents to buy in. So some of our classroom tracking, our awesome art teacher, she does a great job of drawing some of these things for us. We get some stuff off of Google just to kind of print out. But the kids, they will take these and they'll put them in their classrooms, and they'll put them either on the hallway or someplace where display. And then on a daily basis, whether it is, so no tardy November, nobody was tardy. They could fill in their little spot. Nobody was no more than 2 absences for the day. They could fill in their little spot on their pumpkin. Nobody was, I think those are kind of the things, right, Mrs. Menger? So they fill those in throughout the day, and they hang those throughout the month, and they hang those out on their doors, and they, at the end of the month, then get incentivized based on their classroom participation. Each month, we've done something fun. In September, there was an extra recess. In October, we did a candy drop. So Trey and I got on the roof and we threw candy off the roof to the kiddos. There was a turkey drop party. Mrs. Menger gets little turkeys, and the kids come in here and they dance. And as they're dancing, we give turkeys to the ones that have the best dance moves. We had a holiday cookie party. The kiddos that had the best attendance got a little bit of a cookie party. This month is New Year, New Year. New Year, New You. It's the Attend Dance Party. So, Ms. Bryce, if you want to come and join our Attend Dance Party, you're more than welcome to come join our Attend Dance Party, or anybody that would like to come. And then our popcorn parties in February, and then we do other things throughout the school year. But popcorn party is my favorite. Kids come down, we give them popcorn, we watch a little movie in the cafeteria. It's a great time. And then these are the home tracking sheets, very similar to the ones that I just grabbed because we got our December ones that were turned in. The kids come, they bring these, they turn them in. These are the ones that they take home. So as they come home from school, they're excited about being at school that day. They get to go to their fridge and they get to fill in their piece of their gingerbread man. That way they get the parents involved, they get the family excited. They're able to kind of talk to their parents about what they're doing at school, and they get them excited about what's going on here and hopefully improve their attendance. Then when they bring these back at the end of the month, Mrs. Menger or myself will deliver a piece of candy to the classroom, give them their little thing back, and then go about their way and just kind of give them a little bit of a attaboy for doing what we asked them to do. These are some of the pictures from our celebrations. Our October candy drop was awesome. The kids, they can't get enough of that. The turkey drop party, so much fun. January, this month, we're doing attendance chains. So every day the kid is here, they'll get like a little chain, and then they do that with their class throughout the entire month. And then at the end of the month, we'll attach them all throughout the school, and we'll see the attendance chain for the entire building for the entire month of January, which is really kind of a neat thing as well. Like we have said before, the staff, the students, the families, this community, it's why it's like this. We couldn't do this without their support. The love, the value for education is next to none. So I am very proud to be a Musketeer. I know Mr. Richmond's very proud to be a Musketeer. We really appreciate you guys all being here today. MHE really is the place to be. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And you guys are to be commended for your creativity with the different activities you have for them. That's wonderful. Keeps me excited every month. Glad to see that.
Thank you. I just wanted to add, it's kind of awkward at times when you're up on the roof and your boss shows up. Mr. Yater came over. I can't remember why you were here, but we were up on the roof. It's like, hey, boss, we're just hanging out.
This is a safer roof of some of them, so
That is true,
it's
yes.
probably, yeah.
That is true.
I had a question. I like the strategy of the intentional, the phone calls and that. I was wondering when the fifth grade goes over to White Oak, do you guys work with Kristen and try to just keep that communication going? Because I feel like your positive work here can help their attendance rates going forward also.
So whenever we send kiddos up there, we send an individualized card for
Okay.
the kiddos with all the information from grades, the attendance, the behavior.
Okay, great.
We try to let them kind of create their own path up
Sure,
there.
yeah.
But yes, we definitely share all the data that we can with White Oak or in any place that our kiddos go.
Yeah, we know middle school it's even harder to get them here, but,
Yeah, it's a good question. So one thing that we do, we meet monthly as part of our one plan teams. We have the academic meetings, attendance, and our discipline, like classroom environment pieces. So we share, and they've got a great structure in place where I think one other school, a meeting, you'll share your ideas with them, and they share with us. So we're kind of collaborating throughout because we're trying to always just learn from each other and work through that. So there's time for collaboration. But I understand we're trying to set the foundation now
Yeah,
so that kids want to be in school, because it's harder if they don't have it now by the time they get to middle school, high school, and getting yourself up in the morning, and when
Yeah.
it's 7 o'clock, your start time is
yeah,
a little more difficult.
yeah. Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you very
Congratulations.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and next, we will move to the reports. I do not believe we have any student achievement reports tonight. That will start up next meeting. Same for legislative. And what
sorry.
about you, Jim?
Yeah, I don't have anything tonight.
Okay, so that'll all,
Our next meeting is actually on the 19th
yes.
at Butler Tech.
We don't have any reports tonight from an employee organization either.
All right, and community comments. As per policy 0169.1, community members can give a submission which will be given 3 minutes to address agenda items of any topic during community comments. However, no more than 15 minutes will be devoted to public participation unless the board votes unanimously to continue discussion. No response to the submission will occur from board members or district administration during this time. Once the 15 minutes time frame is over, appropriate follow-up by district administration may occur at a later time if warranted. We do not currently have any community comments this evening, so we will move on to the next item.
So tonight, we'll start with our superintendent consent items. We'll begin with human resources.
We seek approval for the following: 0 resignations, 1 retirement, 4 initial appointments, 1 change in status, and various supplemental items and leaves of absence.
Who's that retirement?
I think it's the HR director, I'm not sure.
Right.
For donations tonight, we have a monetary donation from the Eagles to White Oak Middle School, a monetary donation from the Engineers and Scientists Foundation of Cincinnati to Taylor Elementary for iSpace field trip expenses, and library books donated from Heather Cope to Pleasant Run Elementary. We also have vendor contracts for special education, workers' compensation insurance, and prom catering.
The superintendent recommends the board approve the consent items as listed.
Can I-
Second.
Any discussion? And that passes without opposition.
Good evening. For the fiscal consent items this evening, first we'd like to dispense with reading of and approve the December 8th regular meeting minutes that were in your packet. Our financial report for the month of November, our all funds balance is $108 million. Our general fund unreserved balance is $29.8 million. Our revenues year-to-date are $52 million, or about 46% through the year, and our expenditures are $44 million, or about 38% through the year. Our invested weighted average return is 4.05%, and our list of monthly bills, we have our routine monthly bills as well as our annual debt principal and interest payments, the OFCC segment 1 Croydon Elementary project, the Croydon Middle had some cast iron pipe repairs, we had our PAFR and some auxiliary and grant fund payments. And then finally, we need to accept, approve, and appropriate a Job Skills Trainer grant for $11,400 that we received to help offset our special needs coaches. With that, I ask the board to approve the fiscal consent items as listed.
Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Any questions? And that passes without opposition.
Thank you.
So a couple of updates tonight. Parents across the district received a survey last week. It is really good timing because we were talking about attendance. One of the things that we've been doing as a district is trying to gather input and get more information about how we can support kids and families to make sure that we reduce chronic absenteeism and have students in school more so that we can meet our other goals of having really solid classroom environments where students are learning the most that they possibly can. So I just want to encourage all of our families who received that survey link to complete that so that we get feedback from our families about what works and what doesn't for increasing student attendance. We'll also be doing that survey with staff and with students. So by the end of January, our attendance teams at the buildings will be able to really look at that information and really fine tune and hone in their strategies based on more input that we're getting from our families, our students, and our staff. So I just want to encourage people to take that survey. That data is important and will be used by our school teams. We also have some requirements by the state of Ohio that we are required to do. So we want to make sure that we over-communicate as much as we possibly can about two different pieces. One is called Aaron's Law. We do this every year. It is required by state law. Aaron's Law is done kindergarten through 6th grade, and it requires public schools to implement an age-appropriate curriculum to educate students on personal body safety, to empower children with knowledge and skills to recognize, resist, and report inappropriate behavior. That is coming up with communication to parents beginning tomorrow to educate them about what Aaron's Law is and what this curriculum is. Parents have the ability to opt out through that communication. So we want to make sure that our parents understand that these lessons will happen throughout February. It will happen at the school, and parents will get additional communication throughout the month of January and specific communication the day, even up to the day before it happens in their classroom, so that they can make an informed choice if they would like their student to be involved in that or if they'd like to opt them out. Second to that, at grades 6 through 12, the state requires something called the Safe Student Act. And this is a Safety and Violence Education Act. And it requires schools to educate students about school security and youth suicide awareness. So this is also something that is required by the state. It will be happening at high schools on February 3rd and middle schools on February 4th. Communication about this will begin to go out to parents on January 12th. We will make sure that from January 12th through the 3rd and the 4th, multiple attempts to communicate with parents about this are made so that parents are well informed, well in advance of this happening in schools, so that again, if they do not want their child to participate, they are able to opt their child out. Opt-outs are explained in the communication that goes out to parents, so we just want to make sure that our parents are well informed, well ahead of the deadline, so they can do the appropriate research and make the choice that's best for them and their student. Looking forward, this month we will have a holiday break before our next board meeting. So Monday, January 19th is Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, and we will not have school on that day. So I want to make sure people are aware of that upcoming holiday. And we are just returning from winter break. It's really odd because this week the temperature's going up into the 60s, so it doesn't feel like winter anymore. But if you think back to just last month in December, we actually had a snow day because of the weather. I want to take a special moment and thank our custodial and our maintenance crews who during inclement weather are out plowing the sidewalks and the lots so that when we are able to open school, we are able to do it safely. And so they are out there putting in extra hours, doing really hard labor, and we can't thank them enough for what they do to make sure that we are able to open and open safely when we need to. So they are continuing to work. I know the break was a nice time for some people to relax, but there were others that were working the entire break, and we thank all of our district staff who were on calendar working or who were off calendar but still working and trying to get caught up, and our staff who came in on Friday's in-service to prepare for today. Today was the first day back with students, and it takes a lot of work and preparation for things to work as smoothly as they do. And so we are really hopeful for a wonderful second semester. You heard from Mr. Richmond tonight the work that they're doing at Montford Heights, which is being replicated and seen across the district from all of our building leaders and our staff to support students to get them to school in environments that are conducive for learning to maximize every child's ability. So we are really excited to move into second semester and continue the upward trajectory that we're on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have the attendance numbers from Friday to present as well?
Yeah, Amy, if you want to pull that up. Nicole had asked for the staff attendance for Friday.
And can you talk a little bit about why it was so important that the staff be in the buildings versus a virtual day on Friday?
Yeah, so in November, we had an in-service day that we were able to convert to a remote day. And so based on feedback from our building leaders and our curriculum department, who both had portions of that day, they believed that November was a day they could pivot to remote work. And so staff were joining virtual meetings all day long from wherever they were because of it being the week of Thanksgiving and people traveling. The January day was a complete building day, and in collaboration with our building principals, the majority believed that they would like to have the staff in person for the work that they were doing that day. The day was not just teachers, but it was all of our staff, so our non-licensed staff who support students were also there. And so bringing them in person was able to have the collaborative conversations around student data and have the work that they had planned be most meaningful and impactful. We also meet with our teachers union leadership, and the feedback that we heard from their leadership was that the November in-service, although appreciated that it was remote and people could join from anywhere, the fact that there were scheduled meetings throughout the day and they had to join Zooms, they would have preferred to just be in person rather than do it remotely from Zooms. So based on all that feedback, and mostly the feedback from our principals that the work they were planning for was more meaningfully completed as in person, we moved to in person for the second.
So are those figures there, the teacher attendance,
So
that was in November?
No, the first column is the attendance of just teachers by building on Friday, January 2nd. The second number is when you combine teachers and the assistants and non-licensed staff who work that day. That was the total attendance for the staff. So there's teacher and then there's full staff.
So are they taking a personal day if they don't show up?
So we had a variety of people
Like,
who,
for instance, Corning High School's got 64% of the teachers were there and 66% of the staff. Where was the rest of the staff?
so we had about 10% who had FMLA. We have about 30% who were on personal leave and the rest were sick leave.
And these numbers will affect their overall year attendance rate.
Yeah, and it's about, I looked at it in November when we had an in-person, not November, the remote day, but November election day, which was in person. This is about 6% lower than it was in November.
Daryl, when you look at the numbers there, you see the second lowest is Taylor at 83%, well, Northwest High School at 82, and then Colerain at 64. It almost sounds like it was some sort of orchestrated effort by teachers to, I'm not coming in, how about you?
I haven't heard anything about that, and I don't know that to be true. There was a lot of flu going around. There was a lot of things. We're obviously going to share this with our building so they can see, they know, they track attendance every day, so they know who's there and who's not. But our principals, I mean, I hit almost every building I was in, most of the in-services, and curriculum was in the buildings that I wasn't able to get to, and they were doing amazing work. They had really, like, I sat in a meeting just here in this building where we had kindergarten teachers and the assistants who support the academic interventions having really collaborative conversations about individual student needs and who's going to pick up the slack to teach a specific skill to a specific child. It was really a powerful collaboration in terms of student support. So our buildings have spent a lot of time laying out plans for in-service, doing it in a meaningful way, because this is how they're going to get the buy-in from their staff for the work that they're doing to meet the goals around attendance, academics, and achievement. And so I'm sad for the staff who weren't able to make it. I know there are things that happen and people can't be there, but I'm hopeful that they're going to be able to come back into the fold, pick up the information that they didn't get that day, and are able to continue to be part of the narrative of moving the school forward.
So what is the teachers union doing about that? And the only reason I'm pointing that is I'm looking at Colerain High School. That is unacceptable that 64% of the teachers were there.
Well, people have vacations planned, sick, they have kids that are in other districts that perhaps they can't find, things come up with daycare. They're adults and they have time they're allowed to take. And if they choose to take it on a day when they really should not be there, then that's their choice.
I don't know, I just think that's a lot of absenteeism, in my
How long
opinion.
did they know that they were required to be there?
The calendars are approved over a year in advance, so these are.
So they have plenty of time to prepare.
And I'm not sure I
Plenty of time.
buy into the flu thing because, I mean,
Well, Erin's here. Do you mind speaking to that? Did you think there was any kind of collusion on the part of your staff to not show up, or?
Not to my knowledge. We spoke about what we were going to do on the last day before break, and talked about staff attendance. And earlier in December, we hit our 95% attendance. So, and we do it when Susan sends it out with every pay period, we talk about it, and it's one of our goals. So, knowledge now. A lot of the conversation I got as my kid just started vomiting, and unfortunately, when it starts in one family, it just goes. So I think that a lot of it was just if they had been traveling, maybe they got sick or they were just sick.
Yeah, unfortunately, Christmas vacation is usually a big time for flu and COVID and GI viruses to hit, and everybody's together. So it does spread like
And
wildfire.
these are
But I do-
in-service days.
This is an in-service day, and I
And how
I
many
want
of
to.
those do we do a year?
We have multiple. There's around 10 to 12. But the thing is, I want to give credit to our principals. We had a retreat in December. Thankfully, it was a snow day, so we were able to sit and they were able to focus without really worrying what's happening in the building. And they planned really important work related to our one plan to continue to move the work forward. And so even though there were some buildings that didn't have a lot of staff who showed up that day, work continued to move forward. They continued to meet and talk and collaborate, look at data, make decisions, and the people who missed that day have catching up to do because the work will continue to move forward. And there were people that were absent in the meeting that I sat in multiple buildings, and the conversation was, we're continuing the work, they'll catch up when they get here, we've got to keep moving. So I give credit to a lot of our building leaders who were able to continue to move the work forward with the staff that they had. Most of these numbers are not horrible for in-service days, and they were able to continue to do the important work they need to make sure that our students succeed, because at the end of the day, we make decisions that are best for our kids. And it was important for us to have an in-service day. We do it every year. We have an in-service day before the kids come back in January so that we can reset second semester. There are times where schedules are changing for our secondary kids because they're going into new classes, and there are things that need to be ironed out. There are building procedures that are being updated based on data from the first semester. There's midterm data that comes back so that you really can customize the intervention you need for a student so that by the time they get to the end of course exam at the state level, they can truly excel in that. There's a lot of data that needs to be analyzed. This is the time for our staff to do that, and our leaders have created the space and the processes and the procedures for that to happen, and that's what's continuing to move us forward. I know some of these numbers are disappointing, but not every in-service day has those percents.
You know, if kids would come in and have these excuses and have this kind of attendance, I mean, would we be happy with that? You know, if you had 64% of the students show up at Colerain High School, do you think that's, I mean...
So we do track.
I'm just saying,
No,
I
but-
just think it's
But
ridiculous.
We do
that
track
it's that
staff
low.
attendance, and Susan can attest to this as well, because she takes a lot of the conversations, but there are principals who are having meetings with staff members who, if we think about students being chronically absent, if we have staff members who meet those same kind of attendance thresholds, then we're having conversations about what's going on, we need you here, we don't have extra positions in this district, we don't have extra people, we can just float in when someone's not there. When someone's not there, we are struggling, and students are impacted by a lack of attendance. So we have conversations with all of our staff when they are starting to meet those attendance thresholds, because we want them to know we see your attendance equally as important as we do the student attendance. Anything you want to add, Susan?
Our principals are amazing at holding folks accountable to that attendance, and so where there are certain thresholds where discipline occurs. So
How are you holding them accountable if they can just take a personal day?
So,
Jim, everybody gets personal days. People can take personal days. We're
I
adults.
get that, but I don't see it in the companies that I deal with, and that you're not showing up at work, you're not getting paid, you
It's a
know.
personal day.
Huh?
You take it when you
Well, I
have
just,
to.
I just think that's ridiculous, that percentage. Everybody else is in the 80s and 90s.
I also have issue with.
And I'm not, this is not any blame, I'm sorry, on the principals. This is on the teachers and the other staff that aren't showing up.
so if they meet certain thresholds for their attendance, then they have disciplinary consequences that occur because of that. And so disciplinary meetings are held with staff, whether they're teachers or part of our custodial or food service or bus drivers, that they're held accountable to their attendance every day, just as we hold students accountable. And so depending on where different folks are for their absence on the professional development day, then they'll have consequences accordingly.
I just don't think it shows a good example for the kids. We just had a presentation from Trey here at Moffett Heights with attendance. You know, kids see that, oh, the teachers aren't there this day, you know, why should I get up and go?
Jim,
I
would
think
also-
the principals did an amazing job trying to.
I do,
get
I
the
agree,
staff there,
I
But
agree.
I'm not surprised as a parent or as someone who works that gets a personal day, that you would want to take it the day after New Year's Day when it's something that potentially could have been done remote. I mean, that's the
Well,
world
what's the
we live in
difference, though, if
today.
it's remote and you have to be on Zoom calls all day? You still can't just go do what you want.
Well, and I would say that
I mean-
the work that was done that day was designed by our principals, and the principals are the ones who gave input that it was important to have people in person for the work they designed, and I wanted to honor that request and the work that they were doing.
It's sad because they work so hard, like Trey talked about, you know, the incentives and working so hard to have both student and teacher attendance at high percentages, that this is going to negatively impact that. Doesn't
And
tell
I
the
would say
full
this is
story.
one data point. This is one data point out of an entire 185 days. And so it looks really bad for one day, but it doesn't mean that high attendance in upcoming days, weeks, and months can't have them at a really high 95% attendance rate by the end of the year. So I don't want to get stuck on this as a number that's indicative of Colerain High School when it is a one point in time and not a cumulative look at the entire year for any of our buildings.
If I
Thank
can
you for pulling this together.
If I can speak now. First of all, the FMLA thing, everywhere I've worked, it's abused. I'm just telling you the facts, it's abused. People call FMLA Day, they don't have to give a reason, they just say FMLA Day. 10% of the faculty, it looks like at Colerain, are on FMLA. And then the thing with the flu and COVID and whatever other nasty diseases are floating around. Colerain Middle School is a half a mile away from Colerain High School. I don't think nobody would have commented on this if there had been some 70s and some others in the 60s. But you see one school that is drastically lower than the others. That's what caught my eye. So.
Any other comments? Right, and then at the last meeting, we looked at a Neola board policy, and we can now vote on that policy. Is anybody want to give a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
And any discussion? All right, and that passes without opposition. And then we'll move on to board comments. Jim, we'll start with you.
I want to thank Trey and your group for Great presentation, what you're trying to do to get the attendance up. And I want to welcome Sierra to the board. Congratulations on getting elected. Thank you. You and Nicole and Chris. And that's it.
And I'll concur with what Jim said. Welcome Sierra and Nicole, and congratulations on running such a strong race. Each school year, I always kind of view Christmas as half the school year over, even though it's probably not quite half over. Looking forward to a productive year, and certainly, hopefully the board can all work together and realize that people do have differences, and if we do have differences, we leave them there that night and don't carry them over and hold grudges.
Nicole?
Yeah, just welcome Sierra to the board, and thank you, Trey and Ryan and Aaron, for your impromptu comments and just all of your guys' hard work on the staff and student attendance, very important, so.
All right, and Sierra, any comments?
No,
Not tonight? Okay. Well, welcome, Sierra. It's nice to see a fresh face on the board. Hope to see some different viewpoints and opinions, and I know you've had different experiences at the school already with your son being there and having worked in the district as well. So look forward to hearing what your experience helps us to do and how we can improve things and continue to move forward. And I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas vacation and everybody is revived and ready to go. We had great momentum going into the school year. Hopefully we got the energy level back up and we can continue that momentum to finish out the 25-26 school year, so we see a 4-star at least on our next report card. Mr. Richmond, thank you so much for your presentation. And whoever your custodian is, tell them they're doing a beautiful job. You could eat off these floors. It looks absolutely gorgeous in here. Yeah, looks wonderful. And thanks so much for your presentation tonight and the creativity you guys put into keeping the kids motivated. All right.
All right, next we have an executive session. So the superintendent recommends the board move into executive session to discuss the contract of the superintendent as listed.
All right, can I have a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
Vote's coming up.
Yours isn't.
There it is now. Okay. All right, and that passes without opposition. When we return from executive session, we will have a vote. All right, and we will resume with the approval of the superintendent's contract. If I can have a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
Oh, yeah, go right ahead.
So just for discussion purposes, I have asked and set out my concerns about the timing and pace of this process. We take more than one meeting to review and approve new or revised policies. However, we are making a decision on extending Daryl's contract in just a single meeting, and we're just notified about it 2 days ago. The concerns that I have include that our annual performance review has not yet been conducted, and that Daryl's current contract does not expire until July of '27, which would allow us ample time for a thorough review and a thoughtful discussion before making any decisions regarding an extension. Also, not in any way speaking for Sierra, but she is new to the board, and this is her first meeting, so I felt that allowing her more time to become familiar with board operations and leadership and the district before voting on a superintendent contract may have been beneficial. I did reach out to Chris and was told that Daryl requested his contract be extended now because people are saying they're going to leave if he isn't extended till 2031, and I just find that really hard to believe that people would base that. People leave contracts early all the time, so I find that extremely hard to believe. I also think that before any type of extension, we should be conducting a 360-degree review, which if you are not familiar with, includes gathering feedback from Daryl's direct reports, who I think are highly intelligent people and could just give feedback that could be included in that review and in any kind of new contract that we do. So I think those perspectives are critical in evaluating leadership effectiveness, and that those types of discussions should be had. We are a board of people that are not in the buildings every day, and I think it would be appropriate for us to talk to those people and get their perspectives as well. And that's all. Thank you.
Thanks for your comments. And Sierra, did you have any difficulty making this decision?
I did not. I've been in the district for a long time, so I did not. I have worked alongside of Ms. Theater for a very long time.
All right, thank you. And with that, we will go ahead and vote. And that passes 4-1. And with that, we will get a motion in a second to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All right. And that passes without opposition. Meeting adjourned. Thanks so much.